today's cup of coffee with Scream.
Ow. It actually wasn't that... Well, it was kind of a Scream day in a way.
Yeah, no. I've had a few of those.
Yeah.
And Kid and I had... it's a little more serious and more of a bitter cup than we've been doing lately. But not horrible, because there's no point in doing horrible. And it's all fun and games and tinfoil hats until you're one of the ones that's caught up in one of these conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And I have been for close to 40 years.
Tinfoil hat wearer for 40 years.
Yeah. But the other day...
There's nothing wrong with that.
Kid and I was watching, just scrolling through, and sometimes YouTube gives you good recommendations, and sometimes they don't. Do not go by thumbnails. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
Do not go by viewer count, because there's some really good stuff that has really low views.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's no joke. Some of the content that I enjoy is more so for... It is more so from the smaller creators because they're just funnier. They're better.
Some cool stuff. You really can.
Yeah.
But I came across this. It's a channel called Broken Battery, and I had never heard of it before. And the link will be in the description box. And the title of their video is the ME/CFS Scandal Explainer. And the letters are for Myalgic Encephalomyelitis Chronic Fatigue Syndrome.
Yeah. ME.
And it was just... It's one of those that parts of it I just sit there and cried.
Yeah. Because you have dealt with...
For almost 40 years.
Yeah. You have dealt with ME for 40 years almost.
And it's incredible because within this, there were people that understood that ME, because myalgic encephalomyelitis, let's face it, that's a mouthful.
It is. Just short it to ME.
Back in the 50s, they had classified it as a neurological disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And then
because it affects the whole nervous system.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's lots of similarities, such as there's usually some kind of disease that is, that starts first.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was flu or for me it was chicken pox, or some people measles, or whatever it is that triggers this event.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had these wonderful people that were from the mental health profession that stepped in. Now, why? Why would they? They weren't medical doctors.
No, not in the slightest.
But because that the condition has a tendency to affect women more than it does men, they changed the name of it to chronic fatigue syndrome, stated that the course of treatment needed to be, it was CBD, give me a minute, I'm just escalated over this, that they needed exercise and therapy.
Yeah, and guess what? That physical therapy and shit, it made people worse.
Yeah, because you have a tendency to have...
And has killed some
intolerant to high doses of physical exercise.
Mm-hmm. That physical labor has actually killed some people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one that they made her over there in the UK. What the hell is wrong with some of these people over there in the UK? People?
Their medical system and a lot of shit is just fucked over there.
I
love y'all, but y'all's
know
government and medical shit is fucked.
They know that. We've got some people that's over there that has some severe, physical issues that they can't get help.
Mm-hmm. It's despicable.
But this one girl that they had forced her to do the exercise program and stuff, she ended up in a wheelchair, and they labeled it successful. cognitive behavioral is what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, she was at least before all that, she was at least still able to walk by herself, you know, do some stuff for herself. But after the physical therapy, she ended up in a wheelchair, and they labeled it successful when they made it worse.
They paralyzed her.
Yeah.
And so within this, it is such a weird thing. And I've wondered before, there would be these little pockets of outbreaks. I knew this back. I was diagnosed in the 80s. I was like, I can't remember, 20, 21 years old or whatever, came down with chicken pox. I was a senior in nursing during finals. And just never recovered.
Yeah.
And go to doctor after doctor after doctor. And it just frustrating. I took B12 injections once a week for over 2 years just to keep me sort of kind of functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And because that these people did not know what it was, and because of the stigma of the label, they want to say, oh, it's a mental health problem.
That is the biggest load of bullshit.
It's insulting.
Yeah.
And it's like...
It's insulting. It's
crazy.
It's minimizing the situation.
Sure.
I don't even know what else to put it. It's just so fucking just... It's like a slap in the face.
It is. It's rubbing your nose in shit.
Yeah. That's...
And it's not just physical activity that can make it worse. Stress. And that is one of the things I have known that because I've had this for many, many years. Anytime that there is an event in your life that is super stressful, it makes it worse. Mm-hmm. And it's not usually while the event is happening, because you've got enough adrenaline to push you through whatever the event. But once it starts to calm down, that's when you have the crash. And that crash can last for fucking years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And with you've had chronic stress over the years, along with, like, where you worked at the jail. That was hard physical labor, and to karate, that was physical labor.
Was fun.
It was fun, but it takes a toll on your body.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's the whole spine fracture thing. But anyhow, it was fun. But that actually gave me an outlet. But it was, like I said, anytime I would have these massive stressful events, and I mean, we're talking when you find out that you're married to somebody that has, dissociative identity disorder and all that shit and everything that went on for 9 months, and then all the legal shit and everything, and it's just like, fuck. Mm-hmm. And then it's almost been like lather, rinse, repeat. And in January that'll come up on 14 years. 14 fucking years. And then age happens. And the thing is, because people, and it's not just with the ME and chronic fatigue syndrome, whatever like that. I also have fibromyalgia. That's a co-occurring condition a lot of times.
Yeah.
What's weird with the chronic fatigue syndrome, and a lot of people they're talking about sore throat. I don't have that.
No.
I have thyroid disorder, but not chronic sore throat at all. But now the fibromyalgia, my God, that you get those trigger points and somebody touch them, and it's just like yeah, no. Doctor, that especially on the inside of my knees.
Yeah.
When dude hit that one that time when he's diagnosed me, he was an old son of a bitch, and he was just rough as shit. Come through with his thumb and poke in the back, and just right there on those trigger points, because he was a rheumatologist, and I think he was a sadist. I really do. And he hit the one there on my back and in my knee, and I thought, I'm going to knock the shit out of you.
That's just, why would you punt? Why would you stick your finger in, like, on a pressure point that hard? You just lightly press on it. Be gentle with the patients.
No, I think what it was a matter of to see, like I said, I think he was a sadist. I was going to say to see if somebody was faking or
Well,
whatever
you sure
it
as hell
was.
don't. You don't fake this shit.
You can't fake the shit. But he was the one that steroids. Something would go into spasm, and that was what he did. And with this type of condition, the steroids have to go between, as far as it goes into the joint. It can't go into the muscle. You have to put that needle between the bone.
That's horrible.
That's the reason you have to have somebody that knows what the hell they're doing, or you're worse.
You're paralyzed, basically.
Well, no, that'd be spinal. But no, there's like knees and shoulders and all that good stuff.
It's like, God, you fucked me up. Pop.
Yeah. I mean,
fuck you
it's
doing?
Just weird. But I have wondered before, were we test subjects?
I mean, it's possible. Stuff like that just doesn't show up out of nowhere after years.
Knowing what we know
years.
now about our governments, were we test subjects? That theory is not just mine. That's been other people's theories. Now, my concern is, what if I did genetically pass this on to my sons? And that horrifies me.
I mean, if you did, there's nothing really you can do about it. That's, it's, so don't blame yourself as far as that.
Not?
Because it wasn't your fault to begin with. You didn't want to catch the shit.
No.
You didn't want it. So it's not your fault. It's not like someone taking meth, still pregnant, and then having that baby withdrawal.
Right.
That was their fucking fault.
Right.
Yours is different. You didn't want it to happen.
No.
It's not your fault. It's if this is a fucking bioweapon, an older bioweapon, it's the people who made it. It's the people who made its fault.
Well, you got to realize, there in the 80s was when AIDS happened.
That was a bioweapon too.
From what we're knowing now, there's reports that show that it very well could have been manufactured.
They have done so many bioweapons, it's unbelievable. And then to lie about it, but that's what they do. Our government, all governments are not fucking trustworthy.
No,
and then
not.
the sections of government, not a single fucking section of the government is trustworthy.
Right. And if this gets yeeted off of YouTube, hopefully y'all know to go to BitChute and Rumble. Because even discussing these things could get us yeeted.
Yeah. It could very much get us heated. But listen, this stuff needs to be said. It needs to be put out there. The truth needs to be told. No matter how much they suppress it, the harder it's like, no joke, it's going to be like a bottle rocket when the truth comes out about this shit. It's going to go.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting,
and it's and everybody's going to stand there like, what? This was true? No fucking shit.
Right. Well, that's the video that we got yeeted over was proven to be true.
Yeah. They
didn't take the whatever off.
They didn't take the strike. They didn't reinstate the video.
No. Because that just be how they do. Because they can.
I can't say it because I really don't want you to get yeeted.
Yeah. So, that's the reason that I went over to X to begin with, was after the initial yeet.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of sort of remember what my world was like prior to contracting this. And it was like I was one of these just very active, doing stuff, walking, just physically active. Even in college, I mean, my God, we would walk miles a day there on the campus.
Mm-hmm.
And, did I have a healthy lifestyle? What 19-year-old in college has a healthy lifestyle?
Yeah.
And it was the 80s, and the 80s were great, and they were wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that world seems like is a very distant phantom to my existence at this point. But when I found this video, and there was another one that I've had, and it's hard to find the movie anymore. It's called What About M.E.? And it is an older movie, but even finding the DVD, you can't hardly do it. Why?
Don't you have the physical copy?
I do have the physical copy, and that's why I have a physical copy. But I have gone back later and tried to,
There's so many documentaries that have come out over the years that they have suppressed and got rid of.
Uh-huh.
Because they don't want the truth out, whoever they are, the evil ones.
Yeah.
That's what they are. They're evil.
When I watched the movie What About M.E. or What About Me, I cried. Because you had all these people, and again, this was over in the UK and stuff, that they were professional people. They were educated people, different things like that. Same story as far as then their world just crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have got it worse than I do.
Yeah. Some people literally like starvation levels. It's scary.
Guess what?
This one guy was up in his bedridden, and he was skeletal.
Because he couldn't feed himself.
He couldn't feed himself. He could barely get up to use the restroom.
Mm-hmm. The fibromyalgia can cause weight gain.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. So when these people are out here busting on people because of the weight issue, that's what I'm saying. You don't know what's going on with that person.
Exactly. They have no fucking right to judge.
A lot of those people are probably poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
That is an outward manifestation of something. And people's like, it's an outward manifestation of what they're putting in their face. Maybe. Maybe not. Because a lot of these people are vaccine injured. They've been poisoned mind, body, and spirit. Healthy people don't do that. Healthy people don't look like that. So have some fucking compassion and be grateful because, saved by the grace of God, therefore can go you.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thinks this shit's going to happen to them.
Until
it does. Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Some of these psychologists that try to fucking say, oh, it's just a mental disorder. I hope they get it or one of their relatives gets it and then they experience the reality.
Well, it's one of those things to not be able to make plans.
Because you don't know how you're going to feel. Yeah.
And it's like a living hell. And that fatigue that you're just so tired, and then you want to go to sleep and you wake up and it's like you have never slept.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this walking perpetual nightmare.
Yeah. And it's... And the pain, the amount of pain that you feel to the point that you can't even get a good sleep. Even that, the pain alone keeps you up.
Mm-hmm. Some days. It has the past couple of days because whatever reason that knees and it's not the elbow, it's the ligaments on the elbow and stuff. To be able to lift a pitcher of water, no, you have to take the other hand, lift the pitcher of water.
Mm-hmm. It's like you handed me a box of 3 shampoo bottles, and you're like,
I can't lift
can you can you carry this? This is too heavy for me today.
Yeah.
And they're not big shampoo bottles either, y'all.
No.
These are just, I don't know, they're maybe 12 inches tall. Yeah. They're about the same size as a Barbie, no joke.
Yeah.
Same height.
I think they had maybe 16 ounces a piece.
Yeah.
Something like that. And
3 16-ounce bottles. Those ain't large.
No. And then there are times when it's more in a remission that as far as I'm not supposed to, but as far as lifting 50-pound sacks of horse feed, that was a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And to be reduced to where this handing, box with 3 shampoo bottles,
it's like,
or body wash bottles, whatever.
I want God to heal you. I'm tired.
Well, it's just
And everyone
God
else
does
with
what
these
he does
conditions.
for his purpose. But to sit there and think, we very much could have been some of the test subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have researched this shit. I have never, and it's also kind of infuriating. And I do understand that other people's like, well, why don't you? And that makes me want to scream. Honest to God, it makes me want to scream. Because I am not a stupid person. I always try to help self, especially if the doctors do not have answers. I'm like, okay, if there is a question, there has to be an answer somewhere. I have spent 40 years researching many varied and sundry things because for the most part that I could do. Now, there have been times where my mind just, And when they put me on the antidepressant, the Lamictal, go back and listen to some of the earlier videos where we're talking. You'll notice there's a vast difference because I couldn't think of words, but I refused to prevent it. I refused to allow it to stop me from doing something that I enjoy. Because the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I'm not going to make his job easy.
No. You're going to fight every single way.
Yeah.
Every single step of the way.
But I think it's interesting.
The devil ain't going to win. He's already lost the battle.
And this is not a pity party in any respect, because everybody has challenges. Everybody is, they've got strengths, they've got weaknesses. It's like, okay, this was on my, to-do list, apparently, in this lifetime. And I've done the best that I can with it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody else that will happen upon this video will be going, damn, I've got this too.
Mm-hmm.
And to give somebody else hope and encouragement. And maybe somebody has heard something. It's like, I have tried. My God, you would be amazed at the shit that I have tried. And people's like, well, why don't you try this, and why don't you try that, and why don't you try this diet, and why don't you try that diet, and you need to do vegan, and you need to do carnivore, and you need to do, and you need to do. And that in itself makes me so tired.
Yeah.
Just weary.
You tried almost everything in the book.
Yeah. And
there is a cure for it, but they're hiding it.
That doesn't surprise me. I know that Judy Makovitz or whatever, and I always butcher her last name because it's not something. She was doing research, and that was in that movie, What About ME? And Fauci was once shut her down.
Well, Fauci was the one that made the HIV virus.
Yeah. And
he was the one that did the COVID shit too. Oh, you may have to bleep.
Allegedly.
You may have to bleep some of this stuff, no joke. Because I will say it on TikTok left and right, and they will stifle my views. But guess what? It still gets out there.
Yeah.
They had an ad specifically for that. Oh, are you stuck in 200 view count jail? Well, you can pay.
Yeah.
To promote your videos, and it's like, fuck you. Shouldn't have to pay to play.
That's how it is with any of it.
We buy from your TikTok shop. Why do we have to pay you to promote videos? You should do that yourself.
They're facing litigation big time again.
Oh, they're getting banned in like January or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right before Trump goes into office.
I think it was. Well, that tells you something in and of itself, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says a lot.
I mean, there's so much in it. That's what we warn people, that it could be a very long time between November and January. But we're almost halfway there.
Yep.
And it's not like there's somebody's going to flick a switch. That is not, no. Because when the enemy is cornered, they're going to fight harder.
This is a situation only God can fix.
Absolutely it is. For multiple reasons, I know this. But going back to the disease state, there's people that have a variety of diseases that we don't know where they came from, that were not recorded before a certain period of time.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just because, they didn't have a name for it or they put it under an umbrella. No, these just did not exist.
Go and watch the Why Files, more recent thing. I'll if they left his video up, because there was question about that.
I hope
as
the Internet
far
Archive has
as where some of the scientists from Germany during World War II, where they ended up.
Oh, we need to download. If it's still up, we need to download that video before it gets yeeted.
Well, he probably would. He's over on Spotify also.
I don't trust Spotify.
He has things over on Spotify that he can't put on YouTube.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
But at this level, when somebody is vastly successful, I have questions. I have lots and lots of questions.
Yeah.
And very few answers. I've got one answer. Final thoughts, kid?
Answers are coming. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
I'm just trusting in God because that's all that I can do right now.
That's it. That's our answer.
It's like I'm going to pray. And I'm going to pray and pray.
Yeah. Yeah, prayers are always appreciated here because we always need them. We truly do. You want to tell them where we can be found?
Yeah, you can find us on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube at Rolanda's Cup of Coffee with Scream. You can check her out on X, previously known as Twitter, at Rolanda COCWS. Can I promote my stuff
Well,
too?
of course you can.
You can follow me on X if you want to be inundated with doll stuff and just out of pocket shit sometimes. At it's that alien. Yeah.
Oh, that alien?
Oh, it's that alien. That's my.
I'll put his thing there in the description box so that you can go and support his X account. Anyhow, regardless of what you got going on in your life, always remember that you are loved.
Mm-hmm.
It may not feel like it. It may not seem like it, but you can overcome.
Yes.
That's part of the reason we're here,
mm-hmm.
is to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No one said this life was going to be easy, and God certainly didn't say this life was going to be easy.
No, we were told pick up your cross daily and follow Him.
Mm-hmm.
That was not an easy road.
No.
We were told to count the cost before we start. Anyhow, treat other people the way that you would like to be treated. And Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup.
Yep.
Bye.